Hey, so I just wanted to quickly go over what is going to be the next unit or the group presentation unit, as I believe I will have all of the persuasive speeches that have been turned in so far done most likely by the end of the day. And if you still haven't gotten yours in, there's not going to be any harm or any penalty against you. Please get it in as soon as possible, and know that there's always going to be compounding things due the later you push things on, and I will continuously send out updates and videos along the way to hopefully urge you along in the process. And if you're having anxiety about it, just don't. I'm the only person that's going to be watching this video, and I will not judge too hard. This will be the nicest and easiest grading you will probably get from me, generally speaking. So have this be your most relaxed, persuasive presentation that you've given so far. And if you totally are behind on everything and need to contact me, please reach out and do so. I am always available, and just let me know. All right, so let's get into this group presentation and what the kind of like components or elements of it are going to be. The first thing I'm going to have you do is go to the Elms email that you're currently seeing or notification through the announcements and look at this group forming sheet. It is very short survey. There's only 3 questions, which is just like, what is your full name as shown on Elms? I ask you it that way because if I know like your nickname, I don't necessarily know what your Elms name will be if it's not directly matched up or correlated in the system. And it's because I don't get to see your faces usually when you send emails. It's hard for me to like then start to like put those kind of associations together as I normally would be able to do at this point in the semester. But the questions that really only matter besides your full name are how much time do you have to work with another group member? Since I know a lot of you have competing demands, you also have life, and I know a lot of you are in situations where you may or may not have a lot of time and accessibility to be working with other people. This is very important for me to know so that I can match up those aligned interests and aligned time capacities earlier on. If you say you have very little time to do this, this will not hurt you in any way, shape, or form. I'm just trying to be as pragmatic about this as possible. And the second question is, how high of a priority are you going to place on your group project grade for your public speaking class? Now, I say this because I know a lot of people have different priority scales. We all do our own cost-benefit analysis of how much time and effort we can put into a specific action. And this is one of those questions where I ask you to be honest with yourself and say, I am probably not going to give it my A game this time around, so I should at least acknowledge that from the get-go, or you're going to say this is going to be my number one priority and I would like to put people that are in those similar situations together. Now, the last thing is, are there any specific group members or group mates that you would request to have in your group? I know a lot of you have friends in the class, and I know a lot of you are associates and work together normally and are probably talking more than we currently talk. So if you have anybody that would just be like an ideal partner or partners, if you both say that you would want to work together, I will do my best to get you into a group together. Now, that being said, this does not mandate or you will not 100% have a chance of being in the same group, but there's a higher probability if you both tell me that you would like to be in the same group down here. All right, let's look at the assignment itself proper. The first thing is I will have groups pretty much assigned out by Friday evening at the latest, and you will know who everyone is. And so none of these things will be due. I will start sending out more videos about how to work as a group asynchronously during the course of this week so we can come up with some strategies and effective ideas for how we can put a video together for this kind of like group speech that we're going to be doing, which I'll get into in a second. The first component is going to be the group contract. It's going to be due next week by the weekend, so next Friday, and that is just pretty much going through and signing out a bunch of list of forms that are just like how we intend to do the project together so that we can start to say to ourselves, all right, we're thinking about how to work together asynchronously, and we're thinking about what parts of the moving parts of the speech are we going to be able to staple together so everyone understands their roles, tasks, and and where to be at the specific times that they need to be at those places. The second is the group preparation outline. Your group only needs to do one. And with that said, you just need to pick somebody to be in charge of this, and you just need to send them their sources and citations and make a normal outline that you would do for your own personal speech, but you're doing it for your entirety of your group. And any of the approved citation forms are always good and ready to go on that front. And so I will do its own independent video as we get more later on into the group preparation outline, but as long as you get this to me before the speech starts, I am totally accepting of it. And last but not least is the online group presentation itself. Now, I struggled with what is the most effective form because this is not going to be the easiest thing to get everybody's presentations together. And so I'm going to give you all a bunch of options with how you get it to me first and foremost. First, you can select different parts of timestamps of when you're going to be doing your speeches, record them independently, and then send them to me. As long as I have an overarching list of who is going to be speaking and when they're going to be speaking, I can organize all of that myself. That is my least preferred method. However, if that is what you must do because your group, for instance, can't all get onto the same Zoom session and record a video together, then that is totally reasonable. The second option is you can all get onto the same Zoom session, or you get onto the same Skype session, or the same WhatsApp session, or the same Hangout session, or the same Facebook session, and record yourself all together, giving this form or use of a group session together. And if you use Zoom, there's an internal recording button that allows you to just record the meeting that you're at. If you use Skype or some other product or some other communication device, you can download something such as OBS, which is the free broadcasting software, or any other recording device, and just record your own screen and internal volume things so that you can just create a singularized kind of document. I'll do an own independent video on that because it might be a little bit confusing later on in this week. All right, let's get into the speech itself proper so we can start to grasp our minds around this kind of group presentational thing. It's 15 to 20 minutes long. You're thinking to yourself, wow, that's a very long speech to be talking to a camera. And I'm going to say to you, it's not. You'll have about 4 to 3 other people in your group, and so if you divide the timestamps up, you're only going to be speaking for about 3 to 4 minutes a piece, which is shorter than your persuasive presentations that you just gave. So that means that this isn't going to be your longest speech. It's just going to have a lot more little nuances and components that you have to glue together to make a whole group presentation at large. The second is a presentation aid. You're going to need one that's required. It can be a visual, it can be a graph. I will do my own external video on kind of presentation aids later on in this week so that we can understand what the differences and nuances are in between those kind of things. It can be a video. It can be functionally anything for you to use. And you will need 10 sources. I know this is a lot, but if you break it up, that's only 2 per person or 3 per person. And so it's really not that bad in the grand scheme of things. And we've already talked about extensively kind of like how to do research and where to find citations. And if you'll remember what the 3 things are that go into an oral citation, which is just the name, qualification, date, you are going to be ahead of the curve in this world, so you'll be in the space that you want to be. And so for the task itself proper, you're going to have to identify a problem in your community. It can be functionally anything that is happening or hurting you all. So if you think back to the controversy idea that I talked about a couple weeks ago, or any of the kind of ways in which you pick the persuasive idea, it is something that is like bothering what it means to be your commons or commune. So we have to figure out what it means for it to be your community. It could be your community in the sense that it is the 18 to 22-year-old demographic. It could be your community insofar as it is the College Park group of people. It could be your community insofar as it is just all students that you may or may not have access to. It could be your community insofar as you're the quarantined ones. And so you find a problem that is currently hitting you and impacting your daily lives, and then you come up with 3 potential solutions to the problem that you think can address that larger kind of like problem area at the forefront. And so this is going to be the first time this semester where not only are you trying to just really focus in on a problem, but you're really also kind of harping on a solution. So this is the idea where you should really get that like creativity flowing and come up with some sort of like separate ideas for how to fix anything that goes wrong out there. So let's look at how it will be graded at self-problem proper. So first we can see that we will look at things like problems and solutions. So what kind of problems did you come up with? What kind of solutions did you come up with? It'll be a very easy sliding scale to determine, hey, did I come up with a good problem that impacts my community? And did I come up with 3 relevant solutions to said problem? For instance, if maybe one of the problems is food scarcity in your community, and all 3 of your solutions were just like Malthusian by nature, and it was just like, let everybody die, or something along those lines, that's probably not a good, rational, reasonable answer or solution to the problem. Now, if you have a good, like, kind of like rational solution, that is going to be more, I'll be more lenient in those directions. So we have to think to ourselves, what are good ways to address or tackle a problem? When the problem solution video comes out, I will go more in depth for how it comes out to like find good, relevant, and potential solutions to the problems we have. I should probably have a video out pretty much every day during the week for the remainder of the semester or until we get really close to the actual speeches themselves proper. The second is the organization. This is just pretty much what we've been doing all semester. Nothing really changes here. Do you have strong intro? Do you have a strong conclusion? Do you have a body that makes sense and flows logically? Do you have transitions between those things? So remember, all the organizational schema is do I know where you're at in your speech? And have you told me enough information so that when I'm listening to you, I know where to categorize all of that relevant information that you're giving me so I can put it into kind of like my mental brackets and know what's going on so I can interpret the data that you are greatly giving me in a favorable or valiant or great manner. Next up is research and support. Did you have your 10 resources? Were they credibly stated? And did you cite them correctly in your speech to justify the claims that you're going to make? It's the same as it ever was. Group presentation skills. This is just the cohesive manner. I will be very lenient on this. If you are, for instance, can't all get together, that is totally reasonable and fine. But as long as everyone knows when they're giving parts of the speech and what part of the speech they're doing, they're going to be good. So I would personally, if I was doing this with people, is say, all right, there are 4 of us. I will take the problem. You 3 take a solution. If there's 5 of us, I would say I'll take the intro and problem, 3 of you take a solution, and 1 person takes the conclusion. And these are kind of the ways in which you can divvy up a way to make a group presentation that is cohesive because you all have individual parts that can be pieced together for a larger whole. Next up is the question and answer session. This is going to be the hardest one and the only individual part of this assignment. I am going to, after listening to your speeches, so I will make these due before finals week, I will send you in response 2 individual questions, which you can answer to me in a discussion-based forum. I don't know whether or not it'll be textual or another recording of it. Or another recording of a video. I need to make that final decision, which I need to at least contemplate a little bit more because I'm not quite sure I want to make you all have to send multiple videos because I know breaking it down and making it as simple as possible is what is the most recommended course of action and probably the easiest thing for all of you all at this point. So I will probably come up with individualized questions for you and have you textually respond to them either via Elms or email. well, so that I can completely give you your own individual grade on that component. And last up, our presentation aids. Did you have a presentation aid? Did it help or bolster what you're doing? Or did it harm or hamper kind of your overarching argument that you're going to be making in this speech? All in all, it's worth 140 points. You do those things, you'll be perfectly good to go. So make sure you stay in tune and keep checking in, and I will continue hopefully pushing out content so that we can continue thinking about these kind of things, such as what is a community, such as how do we work together on a speech, such as how do we work video recording software, and use these kind of things as potential helpers or guidelines to get in and do our speech proper. Now, the final thing I wanted to say is that if any of you ever wanted to reach out or contact me, I will totally make an appointment. We can meet in a Zoom space, we can meet in a Hangout space, we can meet via email, we can meet on functionally any mechanism that is a way for humans to communicate with one another, and I usually will be able to make time, and if I am not immediately available, I'll find out a way to be available as soon as possible. So please let me know if you have any concerns or need any help with anything. I hope everybody is healthy and everything is going well. I hope nobody's bored. I hope everyone's safe and that you're living your best lives. All right. Have a good Wednesday afternoon. Ciao, ciao.